What's poppin', everybody? It's a Sailboat Finder 4. I've got a brand new deck to show you guys in the expanded format. Technically a new deck, but in many ways a very familiar deck. As you guys can see, we've got my beloved Tag Team Gengar Mimikyu GX with Vileplume here. So this is like the revamped Vilegar for more modern times compared to 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago at this point. But I also have this ever popular shout out to calyrex vmax here, a 3-2 line of this guy. So I thought of updating my Gengar Vileplume deck that I've shown so much on this channel. I mean, this guy, I don't really like his HP, just very risky Pokemon to use, but maybe with a lock, disruption, and then this guy's backup, he's not going to be too bad. And I thought, you know what, instead of just putting more consistency cards and having them new steel, just drop in those cards and then adding a Shadow Rider calyrex engine and just mixing it up with some other different cards to facilitate this guy's amazing ability. So, number one, because we don't have Mew in this deck, any deck that uses not Rowlet, the Side Eye, the Stage 2, or some other wall Pokemon where you can't use Vs and GXs, it's an auto loss. I don't have any outs like I usually do, so if that rare occasion does come, we're just going to take the loss. I decided to just let that go and just try and make the deck as good as I can make it, disregarding that matchup. So there's no Mew from Fate's Collide, I think it was, that could mimic Gengar's attack and also play through those wall Pokemon. Free Retreat, it was a good Pokemon. Just drop that. And then drop a few consistency cards so that maybe we're not always going to get the Vileplume out when we wanted to, but maybe this guy can help us draw cards and get it out. And just add cards that are going to facilitate this card's ability. Have energies, attach them, draw cards that way. So that I don't go all over the place, let's start with the basics. Main attacker, Gengar Mimikyu GX. Amazing Pokemon. Powerhouse GX is definitely in the top 3 of most broken GX attacks. It's good. Slow down your opponent, essentially get a free turn, and then if you can combo it with 2 energies, you can usually hit for 200 or more damage, with the stock trainer cards in hand. And 200 or more for just 2 energies is still pretty good. Fast pressure for sure. Now, this also gives us that free turn to have your opponent have stuck items in their hand. They can't play stuff, and then once you get the Vileplume out, if you're lucky enough to get it out, then all of those cards become stuck forever, almost. So that's why this guy has an obvious combo with Vileplume. And of course, once you have Vileplume out with stuck trainer cards, stuck item cards, these guys do a lot of damage with Poltergeist. So 3 of this guy. Hopefully we open with him. The Vileplume line is kind of typical, exactly as it was in other times that I've shown the deck. 3 Vileplume, 1 of the Boundaries Cross Glooms, because it's the best one. There have been so many Glooms and Oddish out, but this is still the best one. I guess, all things considered, it has a water resistance, so maybe that can come up. 1 Retreat, 80 HP, and then Foul Order. Damn. Basically, if you're that desperate and you have to use this, you can use this. The other ones need grass energies and we can't use them. But I mean, if you have to use this to attack, you're probably toast anyway. And then the Oddish is going to be 4 of this Cosmic Eclipse one because it had 60 HP and an attack you can't use once again. But I mean, it's mostly here for the 60 HP. All of the other Oddishes have 50 HP. So this is the best one basically. So this is the line, and then we do the Shadow Rider calyrex line. It's a 3-2. Standard stuff, the VMAX, broken-ass Pokemon. Attach Psychic Energies through this guy's ability, and not only is it energy acceleration, you get extra energies, you get to draw 2 cards. So you get to dig through your deck. Speedy effect for sure. And then a Max Geist, if we get enough energies on the board, then this guy can do a lot of damage. And I guess the other benefit having this with Gengar, as opposed to just only having a standard Vilegar deck, it does give me the option for a more powerful attacker, more HP as a Pokemon that's going to give away 3 prizes. And, if the lock fails or if your opponent somehow depletes their hand, no trainer cards, and this guy becomes useless, you have an additional attacker that's respectable. As opposed to in the My Classic Valgar deck, you basically just have Gengar and that's it. Mew is going to copy Gengar's attack, and it's just those guys too. And then maybe, I guess, Tapu Lele could attack, but that's not very reliable. This guy, though, is reliable. And because we slow down our opponent with the lock, and they're probably going to have to do some shit to get over Gengar, it gives us a little bit of time to build this guy's energies. So he can be pretty respectable with Max Geist. The other 3 are just going to be the standard, base V. Shadow Mist, I guess it's a decent little attack if you open with it and you know what your opponent is using. I mean, if you see that they're using something that is going to play special energy cards and stadium cards, then you can soft lock them in a way. This is especially good. Well, no, actually, no, fuck it, because if you play against Arceus, you go second, they're going to attach the energy. If you go second, they already attached the energy, so no matter what, yeah. If it discarded, then it would have been better, just like the Tornadus that I've got in Blissey. But it just prevents them from playing them down. So most of the time, it's not really going to help you against the broken Arceus GX. But, I mean, it's still a very good effect, blocking stadiums and special energies from playing down. Astro Barrage, double spread for 5 damage counters. Maybe it can come up, but to be honest, you're almost always going to want to evolve into the VMAX. Indeed. And then the other guys, they do the same shit, it's just different artworks. This is the original one. This is from Astro Radiance, I think, like the alternate art gallery, whatever, with that dude over there. And this is the full art original. Okay. And then the last Pokemon, one Tapu Lele GX, makes perfect sense in this deck because we have all of the Fog Crystals and all the other Psychic support. So might as well have this guy. I mean, it's very unlikely, but in a very bizarre, weird game, if you don't use Gengar's GX attack, maybe you can use Tapu Q GX, I guess. So that's over there too, don't forget about it. But yeah, Wonder Tag, get me supporters. I think it's just better to have this as opposed to Crobat or Dedenne in this deck. I mean, in my previous Valgar decks, I did have both Dedenne and Tapu Lele, I'm quite sure. I know that I had Dedenne 100%, but we don't want to be dumping stuff this time. We're going to try and get this guy out and get some straight draw. So, I mean, I don't really have the space anyway, so just Tapu Lele is going to have to do. Alright, now the rest of the cards. Now, even though this is an item lock deck and Vileplume is going to affect us as well, I do still need to run a lot of items so that we can have a fast turbo beginning so we can get the Vileplume out in the first place and get me the other stuff that I need. There's a lot of item cards that are just too valuable, just combo out too well with this guy too. So we got to use them. Aspect of choice is computer search. I don't think I need to say anything more. Consistency is everything in this sort of a deck. This can get me anything that I need to get the Vileplume out ASAP. And, I mean, yeah, what else can I say? Just grab anything, just too good. And especially because, in other decks, maybe you can make the argument of Dowsing Machine. But, I mean, in this deck, my aim is to get the Vileplume out. So if you don't use your A-Spec, whatever items you don't use, you're basically not going to be able to use them for the rest of the game. Unless they pick on it and kill it. So, just computer search is the best option. I mean, we're not going to try and, hold on to this like with Dowsing Machine. We're just going to try and use this. Okay, then we got Max Fog Crystal. Get me any Psychic Pokemon. And I can also get Psychic Energies with this. So, make sure I can draw some cards with this guy. Just use them all if I see a bunch. Use them, get Pokemon, get energies. So they're out of our hand and out of our deck. And then I got the stuff that I need to utilize this guy. Okay, and we got Triple Evolution Incense. This is for Vileplume and this guy too, so 5 targets. Good enough. I should be able to get the dudes that I need with these searching cards. But we also do double nest ball, so I can get those oddities down as well, because I can't get them with Fog Crystal. In previous versions of this Gengar deck, I mean, I had a lot more balls and a lot of variety of searching cards for just any occasion. But we have to be a little bit more conservative here, because I needed space for this guy. I mean, you guys have to keep in mind, running this dude and Vileplume is essentially running a stage 2 with a stage 1 deck. So it's a big challenge. I mean, lots of cards that you gotta include. Okay, got the one Professor's Letter. This is 2 because this is good too because it's a nice +1. Get me those psychic energies that I want. Manual attachments and Underworld Door. So good stuff. Max out the rare candy. Obviously, this is going to be dead once we get the first Vileplume, but got to get that first Vileplume in the first place. And then some other cards that are going to help me out when I see them. Trainer's Mail, additional consistency, Field Blower. You could potentially just drop this if you really don't want to have this, but because I'm paranoid, I want to know that I've got the out. If a Garbodor Necrozma deck, I guess, sets up before me, you use this, and then once you get the Vileplume out, and then you use this. Once those tools are removed from the Garbodor, then it's game over for them. They're never getting that lock again. So that's why this is in here. But in general, I mean, it might come up, I guess, if I see it before I get Vileplume out. Alright, and that's basically all of the items. I guess got the float stones too, but in the future, I don't know if you guys heard, but I mean, I didn't mention this in my Scarlet and Violet changes video, but they're going to change the items and tools as well. So it's going to be 4 classes now. Tools are not going to be considered items. So I guess it's going to make cards like Vileplume weaker. Item lock is going to be weaker. Maybe that gives more merit to Chandelure. But yeah, basically, this is just a stick onto Vileplume, hopefully before we evolve into it, so that I can move it out of the way. But if we can't do it, we still got the Altar of the Moon. It's going to be my stadium of choice here. It's great because all of my dudes with psychic energies basically are going to have free retreat because they're under 2 or less. And then Vileplume, it can just attach a psychic. You're going to have to discard it, but it's going to be a 1 retreat as opposed to 3. So it still works out perfectly. So I think this is very important to run as your stadium here. Puts in a lot of work. If they do decide to just try and get Vileplume stuck or some shit. And then if you want to move hurt Gengars out of the way without losing energies, it kind of works out with this guy too, because you know, if you have to retreat the Gengar, if you don't lose the energies to retreat it and then you promote this guy, you know, the 2 energies remain, that's 60 extra damage you would have lost if you had to discard them. So very good. Just puts in the work. I think it's the best stadium to run in this deck. Alright, and then supporter cards, some standard stuff. In this deck, you have to max out N because it resets your opponent's hand, and you give them 6 cards. The point of this deck is to control them so that they don't really get prizes in the beginning. So, going to give them 6 with this, and then Gengar's damage is sort of guaranteed in a way. They should get a few items, a few trainers. So it's pretty good. And then other standard cards, the 1 Chorus, the 2 actually, Professor Research, Dump and Draw. Double Skyla, important to get crucial cards like the Rare Candy and item cards to search out Pokemon. Get the Vileplume out, as always. And then the 1 Guzma, just like my other Volgar decks, you have this once again as an additional outlet in case they want to get your Vileplume stuck or something. So that's the point of that. And I think that's it. The rest is just 12 Psychic Energies. Just a few extra more for this guy, of course. And this is basically the deck, guys. I mean, you can consider it an updated version of Volgar, but I mean, I have my traditional Volgar too. Maybe I'll update that as well. It's been a long time since I used Tag Team GX Gengar. I think the last time I used him, we didn't even have Fog Crystal out. Chillin' Rain didn't come out. So yeah, like if I would build the deck even without this guy, it would definitely be much different than the one that I showed you guys last time. But anyways, we're going to use this deck with Shadow Rider for now, and hopefully I'll show you guys some good matches. Yeah, this isn't quite the focus on this guy, but I mean, I guess maybe some people are going to think that. I mean, the important distinction is Vileplume here. This is a Vulgar type of a deck. Okay. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the matches. What's up?